Ditto for their counterparts.
We've been telling our precinct people, leadership in the precincts, go out and door knock and just tell them who their school board member is.
Jeff Davis is one of 3 members of the Greenville County GOP that I sit down with a few days after going canvassing with the Democrats. Knox White, Michelle Shane's opponent and the incumbent in the mayor's race, declined to meet with me.
Tell them who their county council member is, who their house rep is. Just the very basics. You have to start off from ground zero because most people don't know what's going on.
But Davis, the county party's representative to the state GOP, brings up a point that more voters do seem to be coming around to realize, that local elections are about a lot of things. Mayor and city council, sure, but also things like school board, clerks, Department of Public Works commissioner. Some of these are nonpartisan positions. Some of them are not nonpartisan positions. And to say that Davis takes local elections seriously would be an understatement.
We're really into it for the long term, about how we can actually get people involved. And it is a heavy lift. But if we all do this together, if we're doing it here locally, we're doing it in other counties, other states, that's what's going to help save America and save South Carolina.
Did you catch that? That tying of national mood to local races? Well, to understand why local elections are so important, you do need to understand how they're driven by, and in turn drive, national politics.
D.C. is a distraction, but it's also, confrontation is difficult for humans. Most of us do not want to have confrontation. It's easy to watch the confrontation going on in D.C., but it's a lot harder to watch the confrontation that goes on at county council or at your school board. It's hard to see your neighbors or people you're going to run into at the grocery store actually doing things that you might not agree with. It's okay to say, oh, such and such congressman or senator from some other state is doing some crazy things and I don't really like that and I can't stand them. It's harder to do that when it's your neighbor. And that's why I think people try to push away from local politics. And what we're trying to do is educate people to that and get them more involved where they can actually make a difference. A lot of people want to do something. They want to make a difference. They want to make a better world. But it starts with your own precinct. It starts with your county, your state, and then eventually it'll funnel up to the country as a whole.
Joe Dill is a former Greenville County councilman and vice chair of the County Republican Party. He sees a strong local Republican presence as the best way to influence Capitol Hill.
If we've got people that are conservatives, people that feel the way we feel in the neighborhoods, on all of these boards and commissions, everything else will take care of itself.
This Translation, local elections have consequences beyond the seat being voted for. Joe Dill.
You got the city that appoints boards and commissions. You got county council that appoints boards and commissions. And they pick people that are their friends and that feel the same way they do. So if you got a bad person on the county council or the city council, that person's going to influence others to put people on there like them. So you got to change the local government to be what you want it to be.
Well, the other thing, too, is trying to educate neighbors, because a big focus for us is you can't change unless you change primaries.
Yvonne Julian is the chair of the Greenville County Republican Party.
So that's the other thing for us, is you got to change the turnout in primary elections. I mean, for the last local election here, it's pitiful,
That was 2022, and in Greenville County, the turnout was 14.4%. And that was with a governor's race and a U.S. Senate seat on the ballot. So one could make the argument that 14% of the population is responsible for where things are politically. And one could equally make the argument that the 86% of people who stayed home are equally responsible for where things stand politically today. Whichever perspective you take, Jeff Davis says the county GOP is zeroing in on the word responsible.
It's not just about voting, it's about being a responsible voter. You have a responsibility. Nobody likes being told that, you need to go do something, but you have a responsibility to understand who these candidates are. I used to be this way too. I'd go in the day of, and whoever I saw the most signs out there, that's probably the person I would vote for, So, and that's not the way to pick your candidates. That's not the way to elect people. You have to spend some time up front to get to know who these people are, look at what their principles and their policies are that they're trying to do, what they want to accomplish, and that's who you need to go vote for. It's not who sends you the most mailers. We want you to think. We want people to think for themselves and get involved.
So why don't they? Why don't people get involved in local politics? Why don't they show up to vote? Dare one ask, why don't people care about local races? Municipal Election Day in South Carolina this year is Tuesday, November 7th. Early voting runs from October 23rd till November 3rd. Don't say you didn't know. For South Carolina Public Radio, I'm Scott Morgan.